Okay, welcome back. Let's dive into employee benefits. I want this to be quick. We'll try and keep this at about 7 minutes. And I want us to focus on the most important priorities in benefits. In fact, we'll talk about the 4 benefits that you shouldn't be without. The reason that people get so frustrated with insurance and dislike it and hate that one magical time of the year called open enrollment is that so many times we get taken off of the focus of the things that are most important in our financial planning and employee benefit lives. How do we get taken? What are some of the ways that we get taken off focus? Let me give you an example. This is what my mom received in the mail from one of her health insurance carriers, one of her options. This is what she got in the mail. How do you think she handled getting this? Answer, not very well. And they send this to tens of thousands of people. I mean, can we not do this more efficiently today? We also forget one key truth about our employee benefits. And here's the truth. Our employee benefits, when we're handling our employee benefits, we are also handling financial planning for our families. Our employee benefits are where we do the majority of the financial planning for our discretionary dollars that we have. It's where we spend the majority of those financial dollars, where we ensure our health, our teeth, our eyesight, our lives, our incomes, and we can make a massive difference in our financial lives if we would just focus on the priorities and not get caught up in sales pitches and all the chatter that usually accompanies employee benefits. One critical point that we tend to overlook when making employee benefit decisions, and this is a thing that in almost 30 years of being in this business, people will come up to me and they'll say, you know, I hate insurance. Or they may say something like this, I'm insurance poor. And they lose sight of this fundamental fact, and here it is. Insurance should only be used to cover those things that we financially cannot afford to pay for ourselves. It's very simple. If you can't afford a certain risk that we have in our life, then we can transfer that risk, and we can do it through insurance. And you look at what people in this business, when I look at where people spend their employee benefit dollars, sometimes you'll say, why would they do that? Why would they insure that? It's really not a risk. It's something they ought to be taking themselves. Or you may say, why wouldn't they do this particular thing? Not following this truth, it wastes money, it creates frustration, and ultimately leads to financial failure. So let's get into 4 benefits that you shouldn't be without. Number 1 is health insurance. Why? Because something can happen very easily and be very costly. When our daughter was 2, she was with my wife and she fell and she broke her leg. This is actually her tiny pink cast. Now let's say it was a simple break, but let's say it had been a compound fracture. The bone shoots out of the side of her leg. So you've had to rent a hospital bed. There's pins, in the living room through her knee. A couple of months of that. You have to hire a physical therapist to learn how to re-walk. You're looking at a $20,000, $30,000, $40,000 bill. That could bankrupt a lot of American families today. The risks are so great, especially if you have a child or 3 children. The risks are immense. So for that reason, health insurance could be the most important place that we spend our first financial planning dollars. Now, the types and flavors of it, HMOs, PPOs, high deductible, all that stuff, that's for another session. But right now, health insurance is the most vitally important benefit we may take. Number 2, disability insurance, or the keep your stuff insurance. Most people in this country are not independently wealthy. Here's a fact. If you don't have your income, they take your stuff. They take your house, they take your car, they cut your power off. That's the rules. And if you had an accident or a sickness and you couldn't afford to be without your paycheck, then you transfer that risk, and you can do that through disability coverage. A gentleman got mad at one time because he hadn't used his disability insurance. I said, what do you want to do? You had a Mack truck? But you have it because you can't afford for that event to happen. You can't afford to pay for that event yourself. That's why you have it. By the way, if you lost your income, you probably won't have your health insurance either, which may make disability coverage as important as health insurance in the overall financial planning for our families. Number 3, life insurance. After disability income insurance. More people have life insurance than they have disability coverage. But we're far more likely to become sick or hurt and not be able to work than we are to die at all of our ages in this room, maybe with the exception of our friend here. Now, the right amount is important, but also the right type of life insurance. There's temporary insurance called term insurance, and then there's permanent insurance with different kinds of, we'll get into the differences in a later session, okay? And last, number 4, is retirement savings, saving money. Or really, we ought to say, spending less than you make. Now, by the way, you notice I didn't say dental or cancer or vision or accident coverage. Those are luxuries. Why? Because these 4 benefits, in this order, our health, our disability, life, and saving money, will accommodate, if we have these 4 things, it will accommodate most of the eventualities that can happen in our lives. You live normal lives, you get some strep throat, maybe you break an arm, that could be a little worse and turns into something that keeps you out of work for a period of time. You lose your paycheck, or maybe there's a premature death, or you just work a good life and you retire and you need retirement income. Listen, it's okay not to insure everything. It's okay not to be insurance poor. It's okay not to hate this stuff. But it is not okay to miss these 4 benefits that you shouldn't be without.